It's day 2 of Auto Expo 2023 and Maruti Suzuki has knocked it out of the park with two mega global reveals, the 5-door Jimny and the Fronx. Funny name, but we won't dwell on that. But the products, I think to me the Fronx has come as a surprise, and that's what I want to talk to Mr. Raman, Head of Engineering, who has definitely played a key role in shaping this product. Raman-san, thanks talking to us.
Thank you, Hormazd.
We thought it was going to be a crossover, but you kind of made it like an SUV as much as possible. Was that an engineering challenge? Because we know the platform is common with the Baleno, but to raise the bonnet, you've got the cowl, a lot of engineering challenges over there. So can you just run us through that?
Well, SUVs as a market is growing, and it's our intention that how we can garner more volumes. And we also are looking at how we can bring different type of body styles within the SUV segment also. And so how can we differentiate? That's one challenge which is there. We talked about engineering challenge. I think the larger challenge was about the design challenge. And SUVs, as you know, represent about a high hood line and very muscular, also very muscular on the side, strong shoulders, rear fascia uplifted. So I think that was the key point which we had to look at, that we had to make this design look different from the other SUVs, and that's why we are calling it the shape of the new. So this is a new trend which we also believe is likely to catch on, and also one of the other things is you need a bigger tire size, you need clads, you need a squarish wheelhouse. All of that has got incorporated from the design point of view, and of course as it is going to be sold as Nexa, so the Nexa LED DRLs, which are a signature for Nexa, those have been incorporated, and then of course the grille, which is a representative of our Nexa design language. So integration of that, all these elements together, was a design challenge, and then thereafter, of course, the engineering part of it started.
Right. So you're just sticking to the engineering challenge. You said larger wheels. So obviously the platform has to support larger wheels. That means wheel arches have to be larger. Obviously, there's restrictions and limitations there. Yes. Where do you think were the key real pain points for you? Even raising the hood is not relatively easy because you have to keep everything in proportion. The cowl height also comes into consideration because, let's be honest, it's an existing platform. It's not absolutely fresh. So, and it looks completely different. So where were the real pain points as an engineer?
Well, we also are governed by a lot of regulations, and one of the regulations is pedestrian protection.
Right.
And that's something which is very, very important, that you need to also meet that requirement of the gap between the hood and
the engine.
And also there are certain criteria which it has to meet. So that's one part of it. The second is from the structural part of it, and also the energy absorption portion of it. Those kind of things had to be also, of course, looked at. But as I said, the integration was more, the challenge was more about the integration of all these elements, and in the space which is available, because it's a ICE vehicle, so you have to make it very sleek, and our effort is that our lamps should look sleeker. With every model we are pushing the bar and we're making it sleeker. And if you go to the rear fascia, again, the rear combination lamps are absolutely the sleekest which you can find in this segment, because pretty much most of the lamps are about 400 millimeters in height, but this is about 200 millimeters, and it's a signature, again, Nexa branding, and
right.
From
so very slim,
right? And then raise it up so that proportion of SUV it gets magnified,
right?
And so that is what is the effect which is giving to the vehicle, and also make the shoulders stronger. You're saying that yes, maybe the platform is the Baleno Swift kind of the Hardtech B platform, but to make the entire thing look stronger was also a challenge in that envelope which we had to work on.
Right. And just give me a bit on how did the design work? Was it a combination of India or largely done in Hamamatsu? Because it seems to be led a lot by Japan.
This was done in India by our team, and this is our the way in which we work together with Suzuki Global. Some part of the work which is given to us on various projects. This particular project was entrusted to Maruti Suzuki Engineering from design concept to SOP, and so therefore this entire design was and engineering was done here. Of course, the stage-wise approvals and the final approval processes are there, which is part of our global product development process. That was followed, and then that's
Right.
how it.
Talked about a high hood line.
Yeah.
Any lessons learned from Baleno? Because clearly the low hood line was a challenge initially. You tried to raise it. It's very clear customers want that very upright, that muscular front.
Well, how I look at it is that Baleno is representing a premium hatch. It represents and that's you wanting to make it more aerodynamic and flowing, and so the representation for a Baleno as a premium hatch is different when you are looking from a SUV perspective. From a SUV perspective, we are trying to raise the hood, and then of course the challenge is how can we ensure that we still have a aerodynamic body despite the higher hood line, because that's always a challenge because it becomes flatter, and so therefore any impact on aerodynamics impacts fuel efficiency, as you know, and so therefore the CD, how to minimize that and how to ensure that we can get it to a acceptable level. That was a lot of effort between the design team and the engineering team and our CFD team, who does this analysis virtually, and also then finally the model had to be also tested on the wind tunnel in Suzuki in order to ensure that we are getting a good CD.
Right.
Yeah.
So CD quite important, especially in this age of cafe where you get to get everything down. Any lessons learned from S-Cross? Because clearly that had a droopy nose. Then you tried to raise it, but really in terms of the appeal, quite honestly, it wasn't there. I think everyone likes a very high hood, especially SUV owners.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a direction which we have understood, and we have products which are now representing that as SUVs, and you can see the second generation Brezza, now the Grand Vitara, and now the Fronx are sporting a higher hood line, and obviously there is a challenge which when we raise the hood, then the aerodynamics come into effect, and it impacts fuel efficiency, as you know. So how to minimize that, and how the team can, the engineering team and the design team can optimize the CD of a vehicle is always a iterative process, and the final iterations were done on a wind tunnel in Suzuki, and so therefore that's how the joint collaboration work happens between Maruti and Suzuki. We try to use the strengths of both.
Right. So that's quite interesting. Raising the hood has an aerodynamic impact. And with cafe, that's very important.
That's important.
So it's quite a balance you have to do. Right. So you did trade off a bit of your core, maybe, which is, let's say you could have been more fuel efficient if you'd gone with a slightly more sleeker or droopier nose. But I think over here, the high hood took precedence over ultimate efficiency.
Yeah, but of course, fuel efficiency is something which we always, believe in.
That's your
we
call.
also believe, we also believe in giving performance products to the customer, and that in this we have made it two powertrains. One is the 1.2 liter.
So, that's right. So that's what I want to talk to you about, the 1 liter.
The 1 liter Boosterjet.
Yeah, and we've always said SUVs need turbos. We've had this conversation before, and you've said something else previously, but I think it's very clear. Turbo, clearly for the mid-range punch it offers, which goes with the SUV character.
Yes.
And was this a feedback you were getting, to be honest?
No, we also want to offer something different to the customers, and when you are having multiple SUVs and you are trying to get volumes, and you have to make some differentiation in the kind of product and what it is being offered. And we also had this ask that we need performance engine, and once we had the Baleno RS, which was an imported engine, but now this is a local engine. We have localized this engine. We've tried to, when we localize, we are able to optimize the cost. We also have added the smart hybrid progressive technology into this. And so therefore, this is as a combination is going to work well in terms of performance and in terms of fuel efficiency also. And we are at the, for the seeker person who's seeking good fuel efficiency, of course, we are also, have the 1.2 liter engine, which
Right.
has been tuned for, also optimizing the performance and also giving good fuel efficiency.
No, but it's interesting you said that you've localized the 1 liter turbojet, so you do need a certain amount of scale.
Yes, yes.
But that scale might not come from one model, so it's just fair to assume that this engine could be available in future models as well. It's just logical.
We are hoping that we'll do a lot of numbers of the Fronx to get to our leadership position. So
Yeah, but Raman San, I'm going to press you on this. Typically, you need volumes of about 200,000, 250,000 to make localization of an engine really viable. So I would still...
We have certain strategies in place in which we have been able to do that in the manufacturing.
Yeah, but you can't rule out this engine being used in other vehicles as well.
Well, I don't have any guidance on this at this point of time.
He really knows how to dodge the question, so the answer is yes. So, okay, but I mean, I would imagine it's logical, but just coming back to let's say engine options, looking at strong hybrids, which have done quite well in let's say the Grand Vitara. What is the scope of it filtering down to, let's say, the more budget end of the market? Because clearly hybrids have a huge cost penalty, and it seems, let's say the viability becomes much more challenging as you move down.
So we recently launched the Grand Vitara, and we are seeing a lot of traction on the intelligent electric hybrid from which we have launched in it, and it's getting a very good response. Especially people are appreciating the fuel efficiency improvement and also the EV drive which they are getting in the CT drive. So I think all in all it's great, and we are expecting more traction in that direction, because once they start driving, that's when the word of mouth catches on. And today, there is this feeling that maybe that why I should go for a hybrid product. But when they start looking at what it impacts on the pocket, and it's minimizing that, then the adoption is slowly increasing, and we believe that that's the direction which we are going to go. And yeah, definitely, of course, hybridization, as we are looking at a slew of technologies, and we have improving the ICE engine. We recently launched all our models into engines into the C series, dual jet, dual VVT. Then we have getting into CNG. 14 models are in CNG, which improves the carbon CO2 footprint by about 20% for every model.
Yeah.
Then we have ethanol, which now we are getting into. We showcase the flex fuel ethanol,
Right.
which is going to be a carbon negative kind of a fuel, which is going to come into series production in 2025. We're also looking at bio CNG in a big way, that if we are able to get from waste, we can get fuel. That can also help us in, that's a carbon negative fuel again.
Right.
And how we can use that, and that testing and that work is happening. And maybe in future, now there is a green hydrogen mission which is there,
Right.
of the government. How we can participate in that, and hydrogen based CNG or such technology is something which we now would start looking at going forward, because we need to have sustainable technologies for, and as our product range is very high from the lower end to the high end, it's not just about EV or hybrid, it's about the range of technologies which can actually merit for create a merit for and value for every customer segment.
Right. You talked about the C series engine you've introduced, but why is the Jimny with the B series engine?
Well, Jimny as a legacy, the 3-door, traditionally we have been using the 15B engine. We already have that in 15B, and with the 4-wheel drive, and we wanted to bring it quickly into the market, and so therefore we are seeing that in the 15B Avatar as it is.
Right. So it could go to C at a later point.
Yeah, I mean, we will see. I'm sure that we have our hands full.
Right. And the last question is on CAFE. You guys are completely clear, well within the limits. No hypothetical penalties, even without an EV. What's really helped that? Is it CNG? Is it the hybrid, strong hybrid numbers are still quite small, or is it just the overall efficiency you have? Because you are on a lower weight category, which again is also quite challenging.
Yes, definitely. I think that's the thing which is an important point which you made, that we are at the lower end, and because you're at the lower end, it becomes even more challenging for us, and we recognize that. And recognizing that, we have made our products future ready. We've changed the engine technologies from the B series to the C series dual jet, dual VVT technologies, improved the fuel efficiency. It may be 5%, 7% for every product, but for every 0.1 gram or 0.5 gram, it's a struggle for the engineers, and that's something which is very important. Second is about the CNG technology, which we have increased, we have democratized, we have introduced many more products. Today we have 14 products which are having CNG. CNG is being increasingly adopted because of the lower cost of ownership for the customer, which is a benefit for the customer. In turn, it also gives us merit. Because of that, lower CO2, it helps us in our cafe in a way. Hybrid is definitely going to help, and in future when we have the electric vehicles, definitely that is going to help. The E20 and the flex fuel is also going to help.
Right.
So in a way today, when the target has reduced to 113 grams from April 2022, we have already made the steps in order to meet
that target.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think Raman san, fantastic really. I think great expo. I think two really hot products. We didn't talk too much about the Jimny. I think that really is iconic. We saw it at the last Auto Expo in 3-door form, now in 5-door form, and but maybe we shouldn't end it there. Just want to continue talk a bit about the Jimny. 5-door to 3-door, was it pretty straightforward, done specifically in India, and clearly, obviously a minimum amount of space is required, and it's made it more let's say broad-based than the Gypsy was, even because 2 doors do have its limitations.
Yeah, so I think we also were very clear that we wanted to have a 5-door Jimny, so to speak, and we were always, and that's the what our customer clinics told us, that it's something that would work. But Jimny is iconic, and you all have driven it, how it works in terms of off-roading capability, and it has got a wheelbase in a 3-door form at a particular level. And when you go to the 5-door level, obviously you need to increase the wheelbase. So we had to increase the wheelbase by almost 340 millimeters. When we are increasing that, the optimization of that is key, so that it doesn't lose the character.
Right, especially ramp breakover.
So that was the key point, and that was the optimization which we did in terms. I could have gone longer also. If we could have, Suzuki and Maruti could have gone longer also. But then you are going to you have to also ensure that the off-roading capability is not at all compromised.
Got it.
Which is what it represents. The 4x4 character of Jimny should not be lost.
Right. So that's very interesting. So wheelbase to off-roadability, that was a tight balance.
That is a very, very tight balance. And then the overhangs also, you have to make sure that you are there. And then also with the tire also, that spare tire also, you are within the 4 meter
limit.
Is the limit which we have kept for ourselves. So envelope is there, but then when you get into the vehicle, the second row should be usable for India.
Right.
And that's because we believe that because it's a 2-wheel drive and a 4-wheel drive, it can seamlessly move in the 4x4 Pro Plus Pro which we have got. You can actually on the fly go from 2 to 4.
Right.
And so it can be, it is a very good city car.
Right.
So, and it's got a very tight turning radius. It can be used as a lifestyle vehicle and everyday use.
Right.
And so therefore the traction, I believe, is going to be huge.
Right. Well, I think everyone's been waiting for the Jimny. Clearly we can see the crowds outside thronging over there. Even the Fronx. But Fronx, can you tell me a bit on the name? I mean, it really is.
I think that's something which is a global name, which is registered, which is available.
Right.
And so therefore a differentiation which is there. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a good thing that names really don't impact sales. Yeah. Product has to be exciting, has to be good, and I think the Fronx clearly has struck a chord, especially over here, and I think it's really, to be honest, I think it's turned out quite well. So congratulations, Raman san, on some really good products, and always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.